come right in. Rock, flag, and eagle.
All right, welcome everybody back to another edition of Chairgatin. I'm your host, Rattlesnake, coming at you live from Austin, Texas, back with Dakota, who is somewhere outside Atlanta. And
I don't know why you say somewhere. You know where I live. You've been here.
Yeah, I still am not sure where the hell I was, though, to be fair.
Oh.
We already have one comment from Nathan. Of course, it's from Nathan.
Wow.
So.
What a piece of crap.
Speaking of piece of crap, yeah, the reason that we are behind, Nathan.
Oh, wow.
is because of this piece of crap father that I podcast with.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Real piece of work.
Yeah. So if his daughter interrupts the show, we'll just roll with it and pretend like it's not happening. We're just going to.
She's down, dude. She's cool.
I'm not a parent, but I feel like when you ghost somebody, that sometimes works. So
I've tamed the beast.
I'm thinking if we ghost.
She's subdued.
Also, Nathan, if you've been waiting for 30 minutes.
It started at 8:30.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why you were waiting for 30 minutes. So
probably on the toilet.
Maybe be smarter. That would probably help. So we are back, and this episode's going to be fun. We have a super late stock car driver coming on named Kodie Conner.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet the dude.
He has the coolest paint scheme of all time. He sent me a sticker, so that's pretty much all it takes. It's like, you send me some merch, you're coming on the show. That's all it takes.
VIP club.
Yeah, I had this whole co-host challenge waiting for somebody to bribe me, and Dakota's like, hey, want to come to a race? And I was like, well, you're the co-host then. I've said from the get-go, I sell out. You send me some shit, I'll give you whatever you want. Especially like a shirt, hat, stickers, that kind of stuff. If Girls Gone Wild was a thing for like overweight guys that are 30, I would be on that every episode.
Dude,
just trying to get a free
for
shirt.
Like a t-shirt. Do you like Girls Gone Wild font and everything, but then have like Chairgatin with like a car or something?
I'm not sure where you're going, but this is the reason that I do the merchandising. So I'm glad we could reiterate that. So anyway, Kodie's going to come on in about 30 minutes. He'll be coming on and joining us to wrap up the episode. So we'll talk to him about being a race car driver. And, that's something that I can connect with him on because I'm pretty much a race car driver, as we all know. I drove a stock car once, and I think I probably set a lap record at Myrtle Beach. So, yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about, obviously. Before he comes on, we're just gonna essentially rip off whatever Dale Earnhardt talks about on his podcast because it's way better. Like, if you listen to my podcast, I don't know why.
Gossip. It's all hot gossip on the Dale Jr. download.
Yeah, hopefully you already listened to his podcast. So pretty much this first half of this episode, we were like, what are we going to talk about? And Dakota's like, well, Dale Jr. download last episode was pretty good. And I was like, okay, let's just talk about his entire show. Whatever they said, we're going to talk about, but in a way dumber version because we're not as knowledgeable as them. I would argue better looking, though.
You make the merch. I bring in the hot ideas from this week's Combine news.
Also, Nathan, you did buy a shirt, so I mean,
well,
you didn't give me necessarily anything. So because you bought the shirt, I'll just keep putting your comments up. How about that? We'll call that fair. So anyway, first and foremost, Dakota, what topic did you want to discuss that was already discussed on another better podcast than ours?
Well, everybody's blowing up on NASCAR Twitter. I guess we can start right off the bat and talk North Wilkesboro news. Marcus Smith was on there. He was laying down some hot lines, talking about future tracks, future ideas, what's going on, how successful Bristol Dirt was, which we've already talked about. But, he brought up last minute on the podcast. He was like, hey, Dale Jr., don't think I haven't forgot about North Wilkesboro. And then we had Marcus Lemonis, or whatever his name is, the Camping World dude. Yep. He was on Twitter like, hey, hit me up, bro.
Hit me up, yeah.
He's got so much freaking money. And then he started laying out teasers today on Twitter, was like, Camping World in North Wilkesboro sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? And, everybody was sharing and retweeting that. So, I think the ball's rolling. We just got to make sure it goes the right direction.
That guy's a smart businessman. He sees that the people have been begging for this for years, and he's just like, wait, why aren't we doing this yet? And NASCAR's like, well, we don't like to give fans what they actually want. That's not our business model. Whatever the fans want, we try to go against, or we take it and just fuck up exactly what they're asking for. So he's actually like a smart businessman, and he's like, we probably should have done this like a couple years ago.
He's like, I got the money, dude. Just let me know who to send it to. And I'm just like, dude, I was just teasing on that podcast. I didn't really mean it. I mean, it'd be cool. Hell, even like Jacob had the idea, forget Bristol dirt, do North Wilkesboro dirt. You know,
yep.
I think it's not necessarily the track. It's more the stands and the whole recreational area around the place is run down and pretty much looks like Walking Dead out there. But I mean, dude, if all these millionaires got the money, let's do it. Screw it.
I assume he's referring to just like them renaming North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I don't care.
Camping World Speedway.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, if he puts the money in it, he deserves to get to rename it. Honestly,
yeah.
Everyone's still gonna call it North Wilkesboro, like regardless. But yeah, you get to put your name on something. I mean, I think that would be worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I think Jacob had a really good point too. Which is something we kind of touched on in the last episode with Eric Estep, was cover in dirt, and I think I was thinking more about this when they were running at Bristol and they said they had to take away the safer barriers. I was like, I don't think North Wilkesboro has safer barriers. So like you got that covered. Yeah. Just, you probably have to replace the fence. And then like the grandstands, but
yeah, but I mean, that's chump change to these dudes, man. I mean, they own multiple racetracks.
There's going to be a lot of like little things, like a lot of little things. There's going to be more to fix than not fix.
Yeah,
but
you pretty much have to build grandstands and repave the parking area.
I was going to say the
parking.
parking.
A new sign.
The thing is, if you don't have to put in those safer barriers and you don't have to repave the entire track, like that's pretty good. If you could just get out with that and just turn it into a permanent dirt track. I mean, and you bring I don't know if they want to run Xfinity on dirt or if they're like they don't want to do that yet, but you could still do trucks and cup there on dirt. That would be badass.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's more of getting all the legal documents going. I think everybody's kind of like, hey, that's a cool idea. We would take that over a lot of these double scheduled races we get throughout the years in Texas. You know, I think it's not a bad idea. I just got to get all these millionaires to get all the money right in the right pile.
Yeah. Who owns it right now? Somebody's going to have to sell it, right?
I have no idea. I'm sure it's just sitting. Well, like Junior said too, he's like, it'd be one thing if like it was flattened and forgotten and not even existing. He's like, but the track's still sitting there. Like the grandstands all run down. I mean, the track is there. So
right. Well, and the grandstands are there. Although you'd need to replace them, like the whole facility is there.
Yeah.
You go there and you're like, this is an old racetrack. So yeah, I agree. It would be. SMI owns it. Okay.
Well, they do. I didn't even know that.
Well, then what are they waiting on? I thought that was going to be the one issue. Was like someone's going to have to sell it.
That's where we're going to dump our garbage.
That's kind of like that's what happened with the what was that, the Texas Super Speedway? You know anything about this?
Yeah. When they were going to build like a Talladega, Texas, the 3 miler or something.
No, we used to have the largest speedway in the whole world. Yeah, way back in the day before they built.
Didn't like somebody die
Texas Motor Speedway?
It was reckless.
I don't know. I mean, it's Texas. That's cool.
It's a perfect state to have a super speedway.
But that's essentially what they did. So it was outside College Station, where Texas A&M is, just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. And they used to run cars on it. You could take your car out there and do times and like test out your car. Because I knew a buddy that would like soup up cars and run them out there for fun. Then when Harvey came through, they literally just turned it into a dumping ground for old cars that were washed up and totaled.
Damn.
And now it's just a dumpster, essentially. It's really sad. I think it was definitely the biggest super speedway NASCAR ran on.
So are like the banks still there and stuff?
I'd have to see. I mean, when you look at the aerial, it is so massive.
That's wild.
It's crazy how big this is.
I remember seeing a little bit about it, but I don't remember.
How much cooler would that be than Texas Motor Speedway, I don't want to fill up the schedule with super speedways. I understand 2 super speedways is fine, but like one more where you run, if you went one more and you take away one
road
of the
course?
races from Texas Motor Speedway
Oh,
and put it on a super speedway in Texas instead. Just one
be cool.
there.
Just one race
That would
a
be
year.
badass, dude.
Yeah.
So
Next topic he brought up, what they kind of teased a little too, was SMI owns Wilkesboro. He confirmed. You confirmed it and then reconfirmed
he
it.
told us and then was like, wait, I actually am just
Wait, I was just
bullshitting.
talking shit.
I should probably actually Google this. Yeah.
They teased the Atlanta rebuild, which we've all kind of seen the rumors on Twitter and this and that. And
On the Dale Jr. download, they talked about it.
And of course, like we talked about the repave after Atlanta episode,
Mm-hmm.
but all the buzz going around is that they're talking about possibly redoing it after the July race. And then it's also the teaser with like, hey, if we repave it, are we going to reconfigure Atlanta? Maybe a little old school layout-esque or a little homestead, look. But then they're talking about doing the whole, Kansas casino deal and who knows what else they would build there. I could totally see them putting like a Bass Pro Shops or a Cabela's or something.
At least that, yeah.
Put a Camping World in the parking lot and stuff. And
right.
I mean, that would all just, drive more money to the track. But he kind of tease that like, yeah, we got some things that works. He said it was more of legal stuff. Like they had to go through legislation and stuff to approve everything they wanted to do for the rebuild. They're they don't want to just repave track. Like they want to go big or go home.
Which is what they should do. And obviously we've talked about this in episodes since the Atlanta race, because that's when I learned more about it when I was with you there. Yeah. But I mean, Atlanta, they talk about going through the streets of Chicago, which are, New York, all these cities that they're like, we'll do just street courses because they want to be in cities. They want to be in metro areas and not in the middle of nowhere. So it's more accessible for people to get to, which I understand. That makes sense. But if you're going to go to a big city for NASCAR, it's like Charlotte, Atlanta, and then maybe some in Florida. But that's that's the NASCAR, fan base. That's where your core fans are. So yeah, I think Atlanta should be like number one on their list if they're trying to redo or revamp a current track.
Atlanta's blowing up, dude. Well, that's when they says like all of Atlanta's going south and where the racetrack is south. He's like, so why not make it a tourist city, blow up around here and make it like, hey, this is a one-stop destination. Like this is a track you need to go to. Look at everything it's got, kind of deal.
Right. Because in a city like Chicago, which surely there's NASCAR fans just because it's a huge city, but a majority of the people there could care less. They probably don't even know when there's a race in town. You know what I mean? It's Chicago. It's those cities up there that just
I got
New
some
York,
buddies
LA.
from Chicago, man. I got some buddies from Chicago that live there, and they were like devastated, pissed off when they took Chicago off schedule.
Yeah, were they the only two guys? Yeah.
No, there's three of them. There's three of them. They were pissed.
No, I mean, okay, here, this proves my point. Chicagoland notoriously was one of the least attended races.
Dude, but it was one of our best mile and a halves. I was really salty.
I know, but attendance was terrible. And it's right outside the third largest city in the United States of America. If you can't pull in attendance from that, but when you go to a place like Atlanta, which is a big city, but there's a lot of NASCAR fans. So just in a business sense, that makes way more sense to invest a shit ton into places like Atlanta because the fan base is there.
I agree with you.
And so I think if they're gonna repave it, I'm with you. I think let's just reconfigure it. Let's redo the whole thing. Let's make it like a hub for people, NASCAR fans, to want to visit.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. And he even mentioned the whole city track idea was like, why not if we can get it there and get people there, why not, go for it? It would be a whole thing. Like you gotta think they can't just like, hey, we're gonna set up some cones and race cars here, y'all show up. Like my whole thing is like, well, how are they gonna sell tickets? Like if it's in the freaking city, how are you gonna be like, hey, you can't walk down this street at this time? Or like there's gonna be designated cutoff roads.
I mean, there's definitely some like business model or something behind that I just don't understand. I just don't like the idea of running a NASCAR race in the city streets.
Like I'll watch it if they do it, but I really like if they were like, hey, would you be down for us to go race city streets? I'd be like, no. I don't care at all to see that. Oh, y'all already gave us 7 road courses. I'm good with that. I don't give a shit about going and racing in the city. This isn't F1. Don't give a shit. We're fine. I think enjoy fans streets.
I don't really know what he means. What do you mean?
He's saying if they ran like a Chicago street course, probably all of us NASCAR fans would show up to see it, not local Chicago.
Oh yeah.
people.
No, I understand that too. It's like a lot of Chicago people aren't fans of NASCAR. I get it. And so they're like, okay, we'll be up in the Midwest to draw fans into Chicago. I just think there's better places to do it. That, people I'm not going to go up to Chicago to go to a race. Like I understand there's a lot of race fans in the Midwest, but I feel like even Wisconsin and Minnesota and South Dakota and Iowa, Nebraska, all those places, I think would be more of the actual NASCAR fan base. Hell, Ohio, I think Ohio has a lot of race fans actually. So I just feel like Chicago though is not the place. I would say New York, LA, and Chicago are not the places. There's plenty of cities that I think you could draw NASCAR fans. It's just those three right in my head. I'm like, nah, they're not going to like it. Hell, we'll go to Houston. That's a huge city. And we're on the border of Louisiana. Louisiana doesn't have a single race. Why not just go there? Yeah,
I could those three major cities named. I could see totally everyone in those cities not giving a shit about a NASCAR race in the city.
Who wants to drive into those cities to go to a race? I don't want to go to Chicago. I don't want to go to New York.
Go to those cities without NASCAR.
Right,
Damn sure don't want to go there to see a race.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'd go to California just for the weather. I just don't want to go to LA. I think that's
I really could give a shit about ever going to California.
Oh, it's incredible. You should definitely check out California if you haven't.
Like 10 or 15 years ago, I was like, yeah, California seems cool, go to the beach,
Dude,
nowadays I'm like, I do not want to go to California.
When you go there, when you leave like the touristy populated areas and you go just on the coast in these little tiny coast towns where it's like 80 degrees every single day, regardless of what year it is, you're like, okay, I get why people want to live here. It's paradise. But I would never live in California. I'm a Texan. That's just like, that would be like willingly.
Go that way, bro. It don't go that way.
Right. It would be like willingly. It would be like me being a priest and then one day being like, you know what? Hell actually sounds kind of cool. I've been working my whole life to go to heaven, but like, hell could be fun. That's how I think of moving to California. And by the way, I am Kenny Powers. So
Kenny Powers' little brother.
That's why it was my Halloween costume. And I am rocking my Astros gear, another t-shirt I designed.
What is that, like a baseball team or something?
God, I hate you so much, Dakota. I hate you. Colton, if you comment right now, you're my new co-host. That's all. Lord. That's all you have to do. Is you comment one thing.
Third hot topic we had. Right. Well, I guess there's a 3 and 4. Also, one of them was Kendra Powers. Also, one of them was a roof over Bristol. They talked about building. They're literally talking about building a dome over Bristol.
Okay, so everything else we've talked about, I think pretty much all of it's a good idea. There's, some things that I think are more likely than others, but a dome over Bristol might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It literally, this one would I think they talked about the longest, and he sounded the most serious about He sounded the most serious about I don't see why we couldn't do it. And it was like they were literally looking into it. They're like, we hung this giant Colossus TV. Why couldn't we build a whole roof over it?
No, that's just, I don't know. Okay. All right. I like the way Nathan presents it. More of an umbrella, not enclosed. Yeah, okay. I could see that. I understand wanting to prevent the rain so we can keep running cars regardless of what the weather's like. Obviously, that would be ideal. But I don't know. Just something about it seems wrong. And more importantly, I think you mentioned this when Eric was on. If they're going to run dirt there, even just it covered would cause so much dirt to just be built up in this place. Even if there's ways for it to get out, just for it being covered right overhead would be terrible.
He literally made it sound like it wasn't going to be no big. He's like, oh no, it'd be no problem. We can do it. He was like, they're like, what about ventilation and fumes? He's like, oh, no big deal. We can handle it.
I'm sure he's right. I'm sure engineers and shit know how to do all that. Just to me, that sounds like the dumbest thing ever. I don't know how else to put it. It just sounds dumb.
I'm kind of like, it ain't broke, don't break it. You're complaining about dust now and stuff.
Did you just say it ain't broke, don't break it?
Yes, I did. You ain't from Georgia. You just don't understand. So what I'm saying is like, hey, you know how you don't get dirt in the yeah, you know how you don't get
That's
dirt.
a really good point.
Dirt dust.
I have no comeback to that one.
You know how you don't get dust in the Bristol grandstands? Don't put fucking dirt on the track. You know, like that's all things. Like, well, it rains. Okay, well, change the date. It rains every freaking March, like we've talked about. Move the date. Like, yeah, we get some we get some rainouts at the night race in the fall sometimes, but like, how often does the spring race get rain? Every year. So just change the date, dude. Like, I don't see. I could tell if building the roof just seems like a waste of money.
I actually think Colton just kind of like changed my mind. I'm not against it anymore. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Kodie on here. Let me bring him in.
Is he coming in hot?
Yeah, let me get this all set up. Here we go.
Okay.
Kodie, what's up?
Joe, how's everybody doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on, Kodie.
Perfect. Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. You know what I mean? I'm very glad we had our first race at Hickory, so I'm pumped up, ready for the next one.
Oh,
yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? First of all, I'm Rattlesnake. I've been talking to you plenty. This is my co-host Dakota. He's just the village idiot. I have him on I have him on to make me look better and sound smarter, which works every episode. But why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Okay, cool. My name is Kodie Conner. I am 20 years old. I started racing quarter midgets. I'm actually going to show you. I have my old quarter midget hanging up on my wall.
Nice.
So that was my first ever race car, and that's where it started. Now I've got this old beauty.
Oh, hell yeah! There we go.
You know, it's the Tiger got the eye on the prize. You know what I mean? So that's all we shoot for. And we started out in a quarter midget between ages 5 and about 7.5 and 8 years old. Ran Bandolero. We won some championships in a Bandolero. We went all over the place. We've been to. We're racing Kentucky, and the cool thing is in Bandolero, we race at like Charlotte Motor Speedway. They do summer shootout, so we were on the big track. You know what I mean? So we had some pretty cool pictures where, I mean, here I am, 8, 9, 10 years old, racing Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah,
that's sick, dude.
On the pit road, but it was pretty cool, you know. And then I was in a full size car at age 11 and 12. So it's from there, it's just.
Hey, so was I in the back while my parents were driving.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, 10-4. Touche.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're like a seasoned vet at this point.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Also, I want everybody to know that car he just showed, the paint scheme, that's the whole reason he's on the show. How I met Kodie was through Twitter, and I don't even know how he came up, but I saw the car and I followed him. I was like, dude, that's the coolest paint scheme I've ever seen in my whole life. Like so that's why he's here. He sent me a sticker. I got the sticker. So thank you for that. But yeah, that paint scheme is literally, that's the reason you're here.
I'm so glad I wore this shirt tonight. I mean, it's just meant to be.
Tiger King.
Yeah, baby. Heck yeah, man. It's a good looking car.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody loves the Tiger car. We went to Winchester for the first time last season, and the Tiger car is really what got us there. And we're thinking about going again. We're going to be racing Winchester May 17th and 18th. It's actually going to be a Monday, Tuesday. So it's all the way in Indiana, so it's going to be a little bit different.
Are you in Charlotte?
I live in Kannapolis. Yeah.
Okay.
Close to Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you from North Carolina? Or is that where you grew up?
I am. I'm born and raised in North Carolina. My father, so my grandfather, my uncle, and my father all raced in New Jersey. It started off was my dad was into racing. He wanted to go to the racetrack. You know, I want to see them race cars. He says he want to watch them. So he wasn't able to get into the pits. You know what I mean? Because he was young. But hey, watching from the stands, you get to learn. And he was into it. My grandpa was like, "All right, it's pretty cool." So then they got into it, and here I am. You know what I mean? And I've been doing it ever since, and I absolutely love it.
There you go, Kodie. You're the real Tiger King.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So, like, what's the end goal here? Like, I mean, see how far you can go, or just...
Did I lose you?
We can still hear you. Can you hear us?
Hear you. Uh-oh.
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 I guess
You hear us?
Uh-oh.
there's
Hey,
an echo.
Cody.
I guess we'll just have to
We
look
see
at
you,
his
man.
Seems like we have a flat tire here.
Oh man,
Damn. That's a really cool way to describe something going wrong.
dude, racer lingo, they got it all.
I
going
know.
on.
I'm gonna start stealing that. I'm gonna say, well, it looks like we got a flat tire here.
No?
Hey, we hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Shoot him.
right.
I bet
He'll
it's his
come back
internet.
in.
I'll say shoot him a text or something. Tell him
Yeah,
I'm
he'll
fine.
come back in. He'll come back
Dude,
in.
he seems cool as hell.
He's very cool. And he has the coolest paint scheme in racing. That's the more important thing.
Hey.
All right. Can you hear us?
Hey, you back?
Yeah, we're
Hey.
back. Woo, that's
All right. We
what
could
I'm
hear you
about.
the whole time. I don't know.
We could hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. See, to me, you guys were just looking at me, and it was like a bad movie. You know what I mean?
It's probably some internet deal.
Anytime you see Dakota, it looks like a bad movie. I agree. Also, very cool Kodiak Racing.
Yeah. the
What
old
is
school
that?
logo.
Is that a hood?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Nice.
We did throwback. Here is, let's see, 276, 2019, 2018. So we used, this was Bobby Gill. It was with the Cars Tour.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
So that's when I did Bobby Gill, and that was a pretty good time. And it was just a throwback race. It was with Cars Tour at Hickory Motor Speedway, throwback 276, and then we did it again, and that's when we used the Kodiak car.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
I love Kodiak paint schemes.
That's sick, man.
Yeah, it was. I tell you what, overall it was a great weekend. We finished third in Bobby Gill, and I think it was a top 5 in the Kodiak car. And
Nice.
overall, it's been good. Now, Cars Tour, we race pretty much all the time. They're more my home series. We race Hickory, Dillon. We go pretty much anywhere: North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. We'll go to South Boston, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Jennerstown. We'll go to a couple different places with the Cars Tour. And there's other series too, like the Champion Racing Association, or CRA. They're kind of a little ways, as well as the Southern Super Series. They're a little ways out there, but I love doing what I'm doing. I can't get enough of racing.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I wish I was doing that. So as a young guy, that's, I'm guessing this is what you do for a living, full time. Like, what's the plan here for drivers? I mean, what's the next step? So you're in the Cars Tour now.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the next step if you succeed and you get the sponsor deals and you're able to move up? What would be that next step?
The big deal is if we can find that one sponsor to take us. The best, I feel, to get the best feel for the car and to get the best feel for the NASCAR atmosphere is to go right ahead and go into Xfinity. I feel that's the best start if I want to go into NASCAR. K&N is K&N. ARCA, ARCA is cool because you're on TV and it's not as much as Xfinity or trucks, but overall, what you spend is not really what you get in return, so it's not worth it. And it's really hard is once you're into Xfinity and trucks and Cup, you know what I mean? That's pretty much where you're at, so but Xfinity overall is probably the best thing to go with. And then my ultimate goal is to go ahead and go into Cup, and that's one thing that I'm really working on. And
Right,
it takes that one sponsor, or
Hell yeah, man.
a lot of sponsors. I mean,
well, if this podcast was a little bit better, I would offer something, but it is about the best I can offer you.
Great. I mean, I'm honored to be here.
Heck man.
So I mean, if you had a chance to go up to like ARCA, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
or K&N or something, would you like take that to move up, or are you just happy when?
If the opportunity strikes, I'm definitely gonna take it. If I don't have to really pay anything, or if it's only a little bit out of my pocket to be able to get there, then I'm more than willing. I just really love super late model racing. I feel the atmosphere is really where it's at. You got drivers that some have the money, you know what I mean? But normally they're only in there for a season or two, and then they're moving up. You know,
Right.
a lot of them in NASCAR now that have just moved up from money. So I feel that the short track drivers are the drivers that are really wanting it. You know what I mean? They're out there, they're giving everything they got to be able to make it. You know what I mean? Because whenever you finish one spot higher than the other, you're getting a better paycheck. So everybody's out there giving everything they got. You know what I mean? So short track, you're always side by side. You know, 3/8 of a mile. We're not running a mile, 2 miles. You know what I mean? The biggest track we've been to, we actually went to Richmond, and Richmond was really nice. You know, I do feel we were a little bit too fast. We were faster than the Cup cars. Qualifying was like
Shit.
second faster than the Cup car. You know what I mean? So we were hauling some mail. You know what I mean? So these cars aren't built for that. So it gets pretty sketchy when it comes down to it. But Richmond was a blast. We went to Bristol. We were faster than the Cup cars at Bristol too. We're just a lot lighter. And if we wreck at Bristol with one of these cars, you know what I mean? You might as well leave the car there. So
What'd you think of Dirt Bristol in the Cups?
it was different. I feel Suarez ran a pretty good race. There's a couple other guys that ran a pretty good race. It's just when it comes down to it, so it was a little different swing for me.
Yeah.
My first time going to Bristol ever was actually last season, and we ran Bristol. So it totally gives me a different outlook on everything. It looks real fast and smooth, and it's just real easy, but there's actually a lot to it. And for it to be on dirt, there's a couple late miles. Looking at the late miles, I mean, just going into the corner, hit a rut wrong. You know what I mean? You're looking at the stars. You know what I mean?
Do you do any dirt racing?
Never had the chance. Oh man, I've been looking forward to it. There was actually two times where I was talking to somebody about it. They were willing to put me in a car, and when it came down to it, they backed out. So I've never had the opportunity to be able to race on dirt. Something that I've always wanted to do, and if opportunity strikes or if I can get a hold of something, I'm definitely going to go for it.
Well, me and Dakota race on dirt all the time. It's called PlayStation. So
Yeah.
maybe you can try that out and get a little experience. We got some questions in the comments. What's your dream team if you could make it into NASCAR? Is there like a team that you're like, man, that would be fun to be a part of?
There are a couple stories that my dad has told me whenever he was in NASCAR. He used to work with Chad Canals, and he really bounced around a couple race teams. So he's been in it, and on his perspective, the small teams, the little teams, are the ones that really cared most about the workers. So I'm a driver.
Makes sense.
I'm a driver that I work on my own stuff, so I care about my workers, and I want everybody to be one family where it's not you're just a number, if you will. You know what I mean? So
you actually work on your own cars as well?
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I had to take this door off. We got into a little scuffle, and it would just happen. You know, we were overheating, and it was just some things happen on the racetrack. You know what I mean? So I got to beat that baby out a little bit, straighten her out, and it's just I've pretty much worked on my own race car since I was little. But honestly, if I could afford it, my dream team would be with my dad. I'd be the driver. Sometimes I let my dad take the car out for practice, but I'd be the driver. I'd have my dad spotting for me. I would have let's see, I'd have a couple guys that I know of come on board and just help me out, be at the racetrack, and I want to be able to give back to people that help me out, and that's who I really want helping me out.
Man, that was a hell of an answer.
And me and Dakota running your marketing department.
Yeah.
Hey, I need some marketing.
Hey,
dude,
we got you, buddy. We got you.
Yeah,
the paint scheme alone. Yeah, the paint scheme alone is the marketing for you, man. That's what I'm saying. That's the reason I started following you. So what did your dad do in NASCAR? What was his role on teams?
He was a fabricator. So he was really good. I mean, he whenever I first got into it, he was doing my duct work. I mean, he was doing pretty much everything he could. That's one good thing about what we're doing now is we can kind of build what we need to build. So he's been a fabricator for a while, and He's been teaching me how to do a little bit of fabrication and welding, and I'd say TIG welding is something very important because some race cars you got a lot of aluminum. So when it comes down to it, everything is needed. He worked, I'd probably say maybe 6 or 7 different race teams throughout the years.
And he worked in the Cup Series as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he won the last Winston Cup with Tony Stewart. He has a ring with Jack Sprague when Jack Sprague won the championship in trucks.
So you're just trying to surpass your dad at this point.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to. And the best thing is I'm learning from him, but it's also hard too because if I want to beat him, I gotta know more than him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
From him, and I mean I've been doing a couple of different things over the past couple months to be able to expand my knowledge, and I feel here shortly he'll have some stout competition.
So we've been seeing lately a lot of drivers getting heated, flipping each other off, cussing each other, maybe even throwing fists.
Oh yeah.
Have you had any of those situations happen to you while you're racing?
There has been a couple times. So in super late models, you got some times where track position is everything because every form of racing, don't matter what series, you have a couple yahoos in the field. You know what I mean? So it comes
like
down
Dakota. Yeah.
You gotta know who you're racing up against, and you gotta try to be in front of them so nothing happens. And there's been a couple times where you're mid pack and you're just trying to find a good resting place to kind of ride for a little bit. And there was one time where I was kind of giving this guy a tough time, you know what I mean? But I was just trying to keep where I was by not running any harder. I was just trying to make him run harder. And
right.
I just finally kind of moved up a little bit because he was kind of getting to the point where he was about to run into me. So, hey, I tested your limits, you know what I mean? So I kind of moved up a little bit. I let him go, let him burn his stuff up. And then he gave me the finger, you know what I mean? There was another time where there was a guy, he ran into me going into, so the theory is you can't turn until the other guy turns. So here I am, you know what I mean, doing my job, and the guy comes down into me, and hey, we happen, and I was pretty heated, you know what I mean, because we were at Greenville Pickens, and we had a good car, you know what I mean. It was early on in the race, you know what I mean. You got to be there at the end to be able to win, you know what I mean.
I feel like, how much more does it mean to you as a person that actually works in your own cars and has to fund teams when someone wrecks your car? It's got to just destroy you.
Yeah, it's very tough. There are a couple teams in my series that have the money that rent the cars out, that have the kids that have more money to be able to rent the stuff. So it's almost like they have the mentality is I don't have to fix it, so I really don't care. It's I tried. So it makes it really tough. I mean, there's a couple nights where I'll tell you a quick story. It's a really good memory from Pro Late Models. We went to Dillon. It was an opener, and Dillon Motor Speedway. It was probably 2014 or 2015, and it was a Pro Late model, so I had a 604 crate engine, and I was going out there, went out for first practice, and it was like, something don't sound right. It was almost like a rocker was off, or maybe a push rod, and it was just, So we kind of set her down a little bit, and then we kind of got somebody to take a look at it, and then we were like, everything looks okay, so we're gonna see what it likes, kind of with RPMs rolling, and it ended up it was no good. So we drove our 2.5 hours home, and we had to find where we could get a motor. This is probably 3:00 in the afternoon. You know what I mean? So we had to wait for our practice to end, and then we had to drive all the way home, and we finally found a motor. So we had to go, and we picked up the motor. We had to come all the way back home, and we installed the baby. It was I ended up taking a nap. This was probably 3:00 in the morning, and I was like, "Hey man, I gotta drive tomorrow." So I got.
Damn.
So I slept in the truck for a little bit, and we kept on digging, and we got to the point where we felt like we were okay. So everybody got a little bit of sleep, and then except for my dad. My dad drove to the racetrack. Everybody was sleeping in the truck. We were on the way to the racetrack, and we got there. We unloaded. Well, we ended up missing first practice because when we went to go start the engine up, we had no oil pressure. So it turns out we had a faulty oil pump. Huh? Go figure. Huh? Our first practice because the guy had to go to Napa, had to go to Advance, and then he had to go back to another Napa because he realized Napa has pretty much everything you'll need. So they ended up getting the part that we needed and ended up missing second practice because he had to wait for our practice to finish before he can come into the pits. And we ended up going out for qualifying, and whenever we hooked the shifter linkage up, it was backwards. So here I am thinking I'm going from third to fourth. You know what I mean? I'm over out because I'm going from fourth to third. So
damn.
I as a driver, you know, I'm thinking I want to be able to make the most of my lap. More momentum, I'm hauling the mail. So I, you know, turn around. I'm going backwards on the racetrack, and then I turn around again, but I went a little bit too far. I crossed the start-finish line, so he discontinued my lap. So I started dead last in the race of like a 14 or 15 car field, and I ended up passing Chandler Smith with like 6 or 7 laps to go, and I just took off from him. We won the race.
Chandler Smith.
Oh, that made it all worth it, dude.
Yeah.
Chandler Smith has been on the podcast, actually.
Has he?
Yeah. Last year he came on.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good guy. So I like different racing series, like late models, super late models, dirt, you know, any kind of racing series I can get into.
Yeah.
How do I get more into the Cars Tour? Like where do I watch it?
Okay, so they have a carstour.tv. They have their own deal. They have, I think it's carsracingtour.com or maybe just carstour.com. That's their website. They're pretty frequent on their posts. I will say they really favor the late model stock cars. I mean, they do have a lot of late model stock cars compared to the supers, but they just they've been really biased, and it kind of hurts us. But I still feel it's a great series, and it's pretty much the only series that I can really race in down here because that's all I really got. So
do you have to like pay for a subscription to watch it?
I think they do.
Yeah.
It's for a full season, but I feel Speed 51, speed51.com, you know, they help me out.
Speed 51, do they have Cars Tour as well, or
I think they pretty much cover everything. I'm not too positive. I don't me personally, I don't have the Speed 51 subscription. My dad does, so
right.
I think carstour.tv isn't too expensive.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of race fans out there that watch NASCAR, Cup, Xfinity, Truck, hell, even sometimes Wheelin', or how do you pronounce that? I don't know. The modifieds, because it's on TV. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there's good streaming services out there that are good options for racing that I've been getting more into. So yeah, I would love to get more into the super late stock car racing. There's Dakota's daughter. She's joining the podcast all of a sudden. He has a very cute daughter, so it's okay. So one thing that also we were going to talk about right before you jumped on, so I figured why not? You're here. You're a driver. You might have an opinion. Dakota, you mentioned something about how they were talking about they were testing the rain tires, right? That was something you wanted to mention?
Yeah, one thing I was... Hold on.
All right, well, never mind. Yeah, so he was going to bring up the fact... there we go, Nathan. Yeah, see, I'm with you, Nathan. If there's racing on TV, I watch it.
Well, have you heard of Mav TV?
Yep.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
Flow Racing, Mav TV, Speed 51.
I'll say I've heard of Speed 51.
I've been getting into all of them,
but I've never seen it.
Yeah. So you've never heard of Flow Racing?
No, I've never watched it. Like I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, it's big on dirt. It's big for like sprint cars, like Tony Stewart series and stuff like that. That's mostly what they do. But yeah, I agree, Nathan. If there's racing on TV, I watch it. NHRA, Supercross, anything. So yeah, I've been getting more into like the streaming services, trying to find the right one. So anyway, Dakota wanted to mention how NASCAR's testing rain tires, right, Dakota?
Oh yeah, so my bad. Anyways, they did that rain tire test today at Martinsville or whatever, and I think they did some next gen testing. But literally, they had water trucks on the dry track going around and spraying water all over the track, and then running their prototype rain tire.
Isn't it ironic that the one time NASCAR wants rain, they don't get it?
It was
the
it was
only
like,
time.
It was like the complete opposite of everything we know. Like they're wetting the dry racetrack.
So NASCAR's testing out rain tires. Kodie, do you ever drive on rain tires in the super late?
No, every time it rains, we pull in, but I've seen legend cars race in the rain.
Right. Okay. Would that be, what do you think of that idea? Do you think that would be good? I mean, I know as a viewer, it would be good for me because I would be able to, Bristol Dirt, they had to, granted, that's a whole separate thing because they wouldn't have the rain tires for that because it flooded and it was mud. Yeah. But they had to postpone it to the middle of the day. It was 3:00 my time on a Monday when I'm in the office. You know, it kind of, I'm like looking over my shoulder, hoping my manager doesn't come by because I have the race up in the little corner. So as a driver, though, what do you think of rain tires on stock cars?
Honestly, I feel no. I
okay.
Best thing. If you were an Indy car, I'd say for sure go for it. If they do, then I feel we should have a backup car that is just in case of rain, and I feel they should install traction control for us.
Okay. So is that the main issue that you would have?
I would feel, because I mean, it's not like, I mean, there's people in my series that are running traction control, so it's not like it's anything different. But it's just for people that can't afford it or that don't have a connection or don't know how to get it. You know what I mean? Like some people are like that, they may need it. But overall, I just feel a stock car really shouldn't be into it. It's just a whole different style car. You know, you're really heavy, and in the rain, I don't feel it's going to be as good. But I mean, I could be wrong. I've just never personally raced in the rain.
Right.
I've been on a track where it's been a little bit wet, so I kind of understand what that feels like. But I mean, not lap after lap. So,
so you're just saying quality of the race itself, you think would be drastically decreased?
I think it wouldn't be as good because everybody's going to be more cautious, you know, because who knows, if you're on a flat track, you could hydroplane going down the straightaway if it's raining real hard, you know what I mean? Or if it's just sick, you know, you just never know. It's just something I've never really thought about too, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I've seen a couple different cars race in the rain, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty cool if I was in their car, but I mean, I wouldn't use my car. I know what it takes to fix things.
Right.
So,
I was more like,
you're paying the bill.
It's cool on a road course and such. Like, I kind of get it, you know, we're slower speeds. And I guess a short track too. But then I'm like, to me, you're losing that essence of racing and beating the other guy, and more of just who can hold the hell on the best.
Yeah.
I think you make a good point about the road course. I think that would make the most sense. Like, if they're going to test it, let's try it on a road course.
Yeah, I concur. Because road course, you really got to lower down. I'm not good on road course. I'm good on oval track, but road course, I try to slam the thing in the corner, and I can't do that.
So, have you always done stock car racing?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the quarter midget, you could pretty much only get certain things from like their place. You know, Bandoleros and Legend cars, you can only get their stuff from 600 Racing and Pro Late Model, Super Late Model. Yeah, so I'd pretty much say so. But I really want to experience, but it's really hard trying to do everything myself. You know, I'm my own marketing guy. I do pretty much everything, you know, with the help of my dad. So I will say finding racetrack help is very hard. Everybody wants to get paid now. So I mean, if I was a crew member, if I was a crew member in today's society, I'm going to say, hey, I want you to pay me. And if it's raining, hey, I want you to add on a little bit more money because I got to sit in the rain. That's how people are nowadays. And it's really sad. You know, me being how I am, hey, you know what? You want to go play in the rain? Sweet. who are we going to play in the rain with? You know what I mean? You got 6 other different teams over here. You got 6 other teams over here. You know what I mean? And the others are just way down there, so they got to chat with whoever. You know what I mean? So that's how I am, but there's not a lot of people like that anymore. And it's also making racing very hard. I mean, there's a lot of, like, the big teams bringing out where you can't find nobody because everybody's being fired or laid off.
Right. So also, I mean, modifies, they're considered stock cars, not open wheels, right? Even though like the modified racing is open wheel.
They're open wheeled.
That's a confusing one because people will say like modified stock cars, but they're open wheeled. So it's like a gray area, I think.
I would say there's probably, because there's different types.
Right. I'm thinking more like the Wheelin' series where they're on pavement.
I'd probably say about it. I drove a modified once. I will say that.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so how was that?
That was pretty rad, let me tell you. So I'm used to being in an enclosed race car, and it was not, you know, it's so hot in there, you're not getting no ventilation. Here's actually a picture. But
nice. Hell yeah.
Being inside a modified, it would be like if a wind tunnel is just blowing at you to see your you know what I mean? So it's pretty stout. So just the engine that you got, you know, you can really run, it leans you back. So I feel modified is really neat.
Yeah.
Although you would think that the right side tire, pretty much the tires being bigger, you'd think that you'd have more tire there. But I tell you what, let's say if I'm driving the wheels off this thing, you know, my super late model, I'm driving the wheels off this thing, wah, 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 every single lap, and it takes 50 laps to burn them tires off. Well, if I'm driving a modified, you know what I mean, I'm gonna carry a lot more speed. I got more tire, you know, driving, hauling the mail. Well, I only have 20 laps because the tires seem to just burn off more, even though you got more tire. But I guess because you're carrying more speed, and I feel modified, you might have a little bit more downforce in different places. But hey, sometimes that's not bad.
So
I don't know. It's a little bit different all around.
We were talking a little bit before about.
Oh no! Oh, I lost you again.
No,
it's a bad movie.
Another tire flat.
You hear us? Another flat tire.
Another flat tire.
Hey!
No.
Well, hold on.
Kodie.
Man, Kodie's crazy.
He's cracking me up. What?
I love Kodie. This guy, he's you know, Dakota, you should be concerned. He's about to take your spot.
Well, apparently everybody's gonna have my spot because I can't get my shit together.
That's true. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, sorry.
It's all good. It's like it times out or something.
Sometimes
you
just gotta what?
That's right.
Do, dude.
So we were talking about like some of your hobbies and interests.
Yeah.
You said you're big into shooting guns. You just got into that, or what?
Yeah.
You building ARs over there, or what?
Oh man, I wish. I've only taken it apart, but
come over, man. I'll show you how to build them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to. I'm actually thinking. I was talking to another driver, and I'm thinking. So apparently you can have a 458. You can modify an AR to make it a 458 caliper bullet that you shoot.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about doing something like that, huh? I mean, I'm only 5.56, you know what I mean? So
right.
I'm over here thinking, you know what I mean? I'd like to be able to get some more power behind there. If I can test them limits, I'm going to test it. You know, if I got unlimited horsepower, let me use it.
I was just gonna make that joke. I was like, you can build a car, but you can't build an AR. Those things are easy as hell to build.
Really?
Yeah. It's super simple. Just watch some YouTube videos. That's what I did. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, this is a good episode. I'm glad you came on. If, like I said, you need some help with marketing, hit me up, man.
Cool. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a couple things.
Yeah.
So Rattlesnake, Dakota, all you guys, perfect. Appreciate you having me on. I'm more than willing to come on anytime you want me. Just send me a message. Also, I'd like to thank Accent Imaging, Pro Source Fitness Equipment, FK Rod Ends, CRC Automotive, Circle Track Warehouse, Wheel Chill, First Place Embroidery, Cody Cuts lawn mowing. We're thinking about doing some Carolina Pro Late Model Series races this week or this season. I'm not too sure if we're going to do some, but we're thinking about it. It's a Pro Late model, so it'll be pretty good to race a Pro Late model again. Shout out to Black Acid Apparel. They did my shirts, not this one. Sorry, it was backwards to me. First Place Embroidery did this, so thank you. But Black Acid, they got some shirts that they made for us. So we got shirts and hats and everything on my website, Kodie Conner Racing, Facebook, Kodie Conner Racing, Twitter, Kodie Conner, Instagram, Kodie Conner Racing. And I'm always willing to come on the show, talk a little bit. If it takes a couple hours, hey, I got the time sometimes.
So wait,
yeah,
you
man.
said Twitter is at Kodie Conner, not at Kodie Conner Racing?
Yeah, it's actually at Kodie Conner,
Okay.
but it is kind of I think it says Kodie Conner Racing, but it's at Kodie
The
Conner.
at, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where I found you. What do you like more? Like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? What do you like the best?
Honestly, me personally, I feel Instagram is the easiest. Facebook, I feel Facebook it's had its time, and I feel Facebook should stop while they're ahead, and something else should come new. That's just my opinion, but hey, Facebook is doing it for me. I got 30,000 followers.
I was gonna say Facebook puts up the most numbers though, man.
Yeah,
It really does.
It's just where the social media aspect of Facebook, when it comes down to it, I feel it's not really.
That's how you hit the old people.
Yeah,
The old people. Your parents are on Facebook.
yeah, that's true. Hey,
Cool, yeah. And since all those companies just got a free shout out on my podcast, they better retweet this. That's
yeah.
that's what they got. No, yeah, Kodie, thank you so much for coming on though, man.
Kodie,
It's been a lot of fun.
Are you a racing fan? Is there any way we can catch you at any tracks this year?
Well, it depends. Where are we gonna be at? So I'm thinking I'll be at Oh heck, I don't even know. It depends. Well, the hard thing is now with Cody Cuts, I got the rain right now. It's really got me behind. I was mowing today and it's so wet. Like it rained last night, and I just had to mow today. You know what I mean? I had to get that baby out of the way, and it was clumping all over the place, like you just blew an engine. And man, it just is what it is.
All right, well, we'll be in touch, and yeah, we're definitely gonna have you back on. How about this? We'll get you back on for your next win immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds
so
good.
All you have to do is win. That's it. No big
Okay.
deal. Yeah, and then we'll get you on, and maybe someday I'll be able to afford a sticker on your car.
Hopefully, it's your next race.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, it's the one where you win. That would be the best.
Yeah, man.
That's
It was a
the
pleasure
main
meeting you, bud.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine. It's been great, guys.
Yeah, man.
All
right.
Appreciate everybody for joining the podcast.
All right.
Heck yeah,
Peace.
man. All right, good deal.
All right.